I met Mary Kay Mueller in a church choir, and one day I called her up and I said, "Hey, Mary Kay, I can't make it to church choir today because I lost my job and I don't have a car." So if you ever met Mary Kay, you know she's pretty extraordinary. But she came and picked me up, and on the way to church, probably about 15 minutes, she asked me about my whole life story, and lo and behold, we came up to the fact that I wanted to be a performer. And she asked me, "Hey, are you going to try out for American Idol in Minneapolis next week or next month?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "Well, why not?" And it came down to the fact that I had auditioned for the show before and I didn't make it, and it was a very long and tedious process. So, and I said, also, I don't have money to get there. Did you forget why you're driving me to choir practice today? And she said, "Money? That's not an issue." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much exhausted all my avenues." And so, long story short, we raised the money. I went to Minneapolis and had a tough time there. And I called her up again. I said, "I'm really excited that I've gotten this far, but I think I've lost my way again." So she gave me some more tools from 8 to Great and said, "Hey, this is what you're here for and this is what we're doing." And it worked, and I made it to Hollywood, one of 16 out of 17,000 people that day, and I made it to Idol and made it to the top 40. One of the main things that come out of it, I got a full ride scholarship to a university who asked us to come down and help other people, basically find their dream and how to help them, and I get to actually bring 8 to Great to school with me and say, "Hey, new people, this is what I've been doing and I'd love for you to try it, and this is how we're gonna, find success in what we're doing here."
Hello, my name is MK Mueller. Welcome to 8 to Great. When I chose this as the title of my latest book, I wasn't referring to greatness as a lot of money or fame, but as whatever each individual dreams of becoming great at. Maybe you want to be a great friend or firefighter, a great athlete or artist, a great musician or mechanic, doctor or dancer, a great teacher or med tech, skateboarder or scientist. Or perhaps your dream is to be a great father or mother. I have seen how this 8-step process can help anyone and everyone who follows it to find their own unique greatness. But let me be clear, this is not a course to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. This is a call to action, because it's time right now to claim your power in this life and to take back the power you've been giving away to people and circumstances beyond your control. I believe that every one of you has a gift that this world needs. As Beyonce said, we all have our purpose. We all have strengths. My daughter, for example, is a genius at organizing and decorating, but no one ever rewarded that while she was in school. Yet now that she's a teacher, educators visit her classroom to learn her tips. It's important for all of us to take time and figure out what our gifts are. Otherwise, we can end up living what Thoreau called lives of quiet desperation. By following these 8 simple steps in this series, you'll have the tools to discover your unique gifts and dreams and can start living your best life adventure, no matter what your present circumstances. So who is this course for? Everyone. Even those of you who are facing the biggest challenges right now. In fact, the harder your life has been so far, the more you'll recognize the truth in these videos. During this series, I'll introduce you to students who will share their dreams, struggles, and fears. Their courageous sharing will help you see that you are not alone in your journey. This process began for me on my darkest day, the day I entered a shelter for domestic violence at the age of 34. I'd been a star student in high school, not only academically, but the lead in musicals, on the student council, and even runner-up for homecoming queen. But none of those could protect me from what I didn't know, or give me the life skills I didn't have. I discovered that very few of life's most important lessons are found on a worksheet or in a textbook, and that all the awards in the world couldn't guarantee my happiness. That's why I created this course. I didn't get these life skills until my mid-30s. Some don't get them until they're 40 or 50, after a divorce, a layoff, or the death of a loved one. But why wait? You're already making life's most important decisions. And since you're making so many adult decisions, I wanted you to have the skills that the top 5% of the happiest and most successful adults practice every day. Those in the top 5% see their lives as an adventure and live 8 aspects of it very differently from the rest of the world. These 8 are some of life's greatest lessons, and you will learn them, one way or another, one day or another. But those who learn them now and start using them now will be way ahead of the game. For example, my son used these 8 skills to not only get accepted into a university he didn't have the test scores to get into, but he received a $40,000 scholarship he didn't even have to apply for. How? In his initial interview to get into the college, he took a dozen risks where most students would have played it safe, all because of these 8 skills. Afterwards, the dean wrote him an email saying, "Zach, you're going to be a superstar here. Of that I have no doubt." Michael made it to American Idol and the sing-off. Zach got into his dream college. And let me share one more story of someone who lived their best life adventure by following this process. In the true story film Pursuit of Happiness, starring Will Smith, we learn that the hero, Chris Gardner, ends up absolutely penniless when he discovers a product he invested all of his money in is impossible to sell. His wife leaves him, and he finds himself and his young son living in a homeless shelter. When there was no room there, they slept in a subway bathroom. But that was just the beginning of his life adventure. Over the next few decades, he would go from homeless to becoming a CEO and would donate over $50 million to housing the homeless in the San Francisco area. Some years ago, I was speaking on the same national stage as Chris Gardner and got to talk with him backstage about his life. After sharing details about this 8-step process, I asked if he believed that these were the 8 steps that he had followed. Chris agreed. Yes. He had completed each one of the 8 and told me he wished someone would have shared this process with him when he was in school. So, here's your opportunity to start your best life adventure. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's do this.
Hello, my name is Brooke Ballou, reporting as the youngest 8 to Great trainer in America. Now here's a little bit about my story. The first time I met MK Mueller, I was actually just walking across my high school gym on a Tuesday afternoon, and my high school principal introduced me to the guest speaker for the day. Now, as I said, I learned her name was MK Mueller, but I also learned that she wasn't the typical guest speaker. So we headed into the gym, and we were kind of talking along the way, and I remember the first question she ever asked me. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dear one, what's your dream?" And I thought, I'm 16 years old, lady. You are crazy to be asking me what my dream was. But nonetheless, I sat there and told her all about how I wanted to become a CNN news anchor. And you know, for the first time, I'd met somebody that believed in that dream as much as I believed in it, and that was awesome. So I began to ask her questions about her life, and I found out how intriguing she was. Not only that, but how successful she was. So I began to connect the dots, and I thought, I want to know how this lady got to where she was. You know, what are the steps I need to take to live a life, you know, as successful as hers? And so we began talking, but soon the assembly had to start. Well, during the assembly, actually, I remember listening to her and thinking, you're telling me that 8 steps can change your life? But it really could, and I could feel this process already working after she'd gone through 2 steps just sitting in that auditorium. So after the assembly, I decided I'd gotten a taste of it, but I wanted more. So through the grapevine of a Class C2 school, I found out that she was coming back a couple months later to train some of my teachers. Now this was a big risk for me, but I knew that there was something more in this program for me. So I asked my principal, and I asked MK Mueller herself if I could get trained alongside my teachers. Now take it, this was a little bit awkward at the beginning, but I still would never change a thing because it's taught me more than anything. You know, it's an everyday process. I really thank God that He crossed our paths because I think He started a relationship that could go a long way, and so I'm very thankful for that. Now the best way that I can describe this program is that most self-help programs are like fireworks. You know, you're all inspirational and gung-ho for just a short moment, and they look like they're sparkling and great, and then the passion dies. But this program is totally different. I like to compare 8 to Great to a proverb. It goes something like, give a man a fish, you have fed him for today. teach a man to fish, and you have fed him for a lifetime. And I truly think that's what 8 to Great is all about. You know, it's not just a process, it's not just about self-help, it's about living this every day and really seeing the changes in your life.
Every day we live, there's problems all around, things you can't brace yourself for. I know that it ain't easy to smile and hide the pain. Oh, I've been there before. So I'm telling you, when you've had enough, you want to give up. Believe that there will be a brighter day. It seems you can't go on, just stay strong. Believe that there will be a brighter day.